James Bond gets slapped with fraud charges. Drug bust sends elderly weedman's career up in smokes. And Antigua's Prime Minister gets tonight's Dunce Award. I am Noriko Baldford, and this is Uncut News. This morning, James Bond and the former head of NISL, Colvin Heath London, were charged in connection with an illegal land deal in Providence. Businessmen Jermaine Richmond and Eddie Doolall were also charged jointly to defraud NISL for several plots of land in Peters Hall on the East Bank. They were all released on $100,000 bail, while Bond was released on $150,000 bail. The brother of Joel Henry has turned himself in just a day after police released a wanted bulletin for him in connection with the murder of 68-year-old Suraj Dio Chan. According to iNews, Nkosi Henry told the police that his brother, Mark Henry, admitted to killing Dio Chan as revenge for killing his family, and that he felt good doing it. The police have since applied for permission to hold Henry beyond the stipulated 72-hour period. On the same day the state of New York legalized weed, Kanu busted an old man at Starbrook Market with a suitcase full of it. According to Kanu, they stopped 64-year-old Bucketsville resident Clarence Wright after he got off of a speedboat. They said the elderly weed man was pulling a suitcase containing almost 10 pounds of Selassie's best. Additionally, Kanu found 2 more baggies and some cash in his pants pockets. The GPSU is accusing the health ministry of being spiteful for deducting the pay of the Linden Hospital nurses who chose to protest for the removal of Sweetman Smalls. They said, in many cases, the deductions were clearly illegal. For example, one nurse's salary was supposedly deducted due to an unauthorized absence back in 2018, while others were actually deducted more than the legal limit. They also complained that the nurses still haven't received their risk allowances. Nevertheless, the GPSU and the nurses still intend to continue their protest until the ministry talks. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's car of the day. Currently on sale is this 2010 Toyota Hiace Super GL. It comes with push-button start, all seats, sliding glasses, dual AC, mag rims, new tires, CD stereo, reverse cam, and much more. Buy cash for $3.6 million, or pay down as low as $1,440,000 with around $76,000 monthly for 3 years, and it's yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info, or visit their showrooms at 171 Peter Rose Street, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamar Street, and tell them Noriko sent you for this sweet deal. Yesterday morning, the landlord of the building at the corner of Ornock and Forshaw Street in Queenstown decided that the parapet in front of his property was the perfect place to dump hundreds of boxes of expired medical goods and sensitive documents. The landlord of the property was evicting a man by the name of Dr. Berry, but instead of properly disposing of the medical waste, he decided to make it the city's responsibility. When the city came to arrest the man, he reportedly locked himself inside and possibly escaped through another exit. The Health Ministry's medical waste disposal team has since cleaned up the mess, but the city is looking to arrest the landlord for improperly disposing the medical waste and Dr. Berry for being in possession of said medical waste in the first place. They will also be fined for the cleanup costs. On Tuesday night, 50-year-old Joseph King died while attempting to escape from the Port Tumor Hospital. According to reports, he actually tried to escape multiple times since he was admitted on Sunday. Medical staff report that when he tried to flee on Tuesday night, he slipped on the wet steps outside the building, thus falling and cracking his skull open. He then passed out and died soon after, allegedly, according to the staff there. Today, the Ministry of Housing signed over $2.3 billion in contracts for the construction of the Eccles to Mandela Highway. The ministry expects that the project will benefit more than 18,000 households. The project will mainly consist of a 2.8-kilometer 4-lane carriageway, several kilometers of drainage, and 12 reinforced bridges. Attention truck drivers! Hammer is one of the leading international brands for heavy-duty truck parts. Get high-quality brake pads, air valves, bearings, and clutches for all DAF, international freight liners, Bedford TM, Scandal, and lots more truck parts seen here. This nice lady is not included, by the way. Get it at Powered Automotive Truck Spares and Engine Part at 1161 E.E. Eccles. Call the WhatsApp 6970171 or follow Powered Automotive Truck Spares and Engine Parts on Facebook. It's now time for today's Runner Report. Today, the nation recorded 126 new cases. There are now 233 persons dead and 12 persons in the ICU, with 907 persons in home isolation. The total number of known cases in the nation now stands at 10,375. So, please people, wash your hands frequently. Avoid touching your nose and mouth and mask up before you leave the house. When you do leave home, try to avoid enclosed spaces and large crowds, and remember to give 6 feet of space between you and others. Now, let's take a look at news in the region. Today's Dunce Award goes to Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Gaston Brown, for being such a braggadocious old man. During his weekly radio show, Prime Minister Brown said his wife, Maria, and all other cabinet colleagues are well established, and so they have no need to steal from the government. He then bragged about how rich he and his team is in comparison to the opposition party, calling them all a set of broke, old, corrupt, no-house-having poor people who are only there to line their pockets. He then topped it off by saying that the people of Antigua and Barbuda should count themselves lucky to have a government made up of accomplished and competent men and women. People, I wish I was joking, but that's what he said. This is not an April Fool's joke. These comments drew deep anger from citizens on social media, which is, rightfully so. In normal circumstances, it's just distasteful to brag about your wealth as a politician. But in 2021, that's just plain heartless, thoughtless, and, just plain dunce. Take advantage of huge discounts this Easter at Cellular Plus. Get the DL3 Pro Plus for $16,000, or the DL3 Pro for just $11,000. With prices like these, even your pet could have a smartphone. Get this deal at Cellular Plus digital stores in the City Mall, Starbucks Square, Massey Providence, and Massey Turkine. Offer valid while stocks last, so don't miss out. In Trinidad, local dancehall artist named Brad Bailey was shot dead by a lone gunman on Tuesday. The shooting took place just hours after he threatened members of the APG gang on social media. By the way, the APG means anybody gets it. Police said that from all indications, the murder was gang-related. Obviously, it's gang-related. Anyway, Bailey was well known on the Zessa party scene and was affiliated to local recording label Z-Tech Empire, operated by local dancehall artist Prince Swanee. This is the second local dancehall artist to be murdered in recent years. Last year, another one, Rebel 6, was also murdered. And now for our weird news story of the day. 2 day drinkers in Perth, Australia found out last week that it's not safe to drink and float when the raft they were boozing it up on ended up way out into the Indian Ocean. The whole ordeal began when Jackson Perry and Noah Palmer decided to enjoy some beers on a floating air mattress in the ocean, which was dumb enough, but anyway. After a while, they began to drift out to sea. They were pushed more than 2 miles into the Indian Ocean by strong currents and winds. Added to that, their air mattress was filled with holes, and it was slowly sinking into the sea. Luckily for them, they remembered to bring their cell phones. They called their friend, who came and rescued them on a jet ski. Well, the moral of the story: if you're going to day drink on a floating air mattress in the ocean, just don't. Robbery season might be over, but the streets are still mean. If I were you, I would consider getting security for the home of business. I personally recommend Sheriff Security Service. I find that they are the most professional, with well-trained armed or unarmed guards. Get some security, people. Moving on to our Uncut News Views poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in the nation, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. So, You give your responses in the comments, and we'll read the best ones in the following episode. Yesterday's question was, should our government offer to temporarily house some of St. Vincent's citizens if they are forced to evacuate? Danny Correa said, yes, we should help our Caribbean brothers and sisters. Randy said, Guyanese have always been known for hospitable ways, and we must be commended for this. However, there are ways that we can lend a helping hand without having to house them. Our own people desperately need help amid this pandemic. We are stressed and frustrated daily while our government is doing little to nothing for our citizens, and bringing in more people to care for will only further plunge Guyanese into more depression. Shakti Mangru said, yes, the government should offer St. Vincent temporary home, because half of St. Vincent is probably Guyanese. Owenna Brown said, no, I don't think we have enough resources to offer shelter to St. Vincent. We are already inundated and overwhelmed with the influx of Venezuelans, Brazilians, Haitians, etc. In our country, we are a hospitable people, but Guyanese must come first. Good answers, people. So for tonight's question, do you feel that James Bond will be convicted of fraud? Think about that question and tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in Friday's episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight. Check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bulford saying good night, folks. Hey, Uncut News viewers, thanks for watching. You can subscribe by clicking on this button over here, or click over there for more news. You can also drop a comment to let me know if you've made it to the end of the video. Goodbye for now.